Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about character death, and we're going to talk about managing character death in context to Manifold Sentience. Let's jump into it. So we're talking about this because I've had another character death, and I'm in the middle of processing it. All right, there's grief, there's excitement, there's a puzzle, there's a mystery. And so I need to walk through this player character's death. Now, why do I need to walk through this player's character's death? Well, I am a manifold sentient. If you don't know what that is, I love you to death, but you got some homework. So click on the link below, and that'll be a link of all my playlists. And on that playlist, you'll see a playlist for manifold sentience. And that'll explain to you what manifold sentience is. All right, so I am a manifold sentient. I don't live like normal other people. I don't have an individuated sentience. All right, so the vast majority of humans have individuated sentience. They have one set of memories. They have one set of emotions. They have one set of motivations. They have one set of sensory, one collection of sensations, right? I don't. I live in, I have multiple sentience. I have multiple collections of sentience, right? So Beryl, the Turtle Wizard, is a character that I spent a great amount of time on. That's my strongest manifold sentience. I sit on the docks of Waterdeep in Beryl, seeing the ships come in. Right, that's something that I do, and I have these memories, I have these emotions, I have these motivations, I have these regrets, I have hopes for a character that's dead. Right, and whose body is to this day bouncing around Forgotten Realms, and we really don't know where his corpse is, right? But now I have a new manifold sentient, which is Christoph Kor, Kor, right? So this is a character I ran in an index card RPG, which is, if you don't know, index card RPG is a massive, incredibly capable, elegant redux of Dungeons and Dragons, right? So my most mechanically skilled player is who I call our mechanical dungeon master, and he was running Index Card RPG Mass Effect, and so Christoph Kor is a Mass Effect human infiltrator, and I ran him in no less than, I think it was 10. It was no less than 12 sessions and maybe as high as 16 sessions. Each one of those sessions is about 2 hours long. So let's call it 12, right? 12 times 2 is 24 hours. So I had 24 hours of actual play with Christopher Kor over 3 seasons, right? So we run 4-session season. We run a season as 4 sessions, and every dungeon master within that 4 sessions that you're given at our table, you're expected to make a season, something that's cohesive and whole, a whole story. But then it's a season. You could put another season on top of it, right? And this dungeon master did that. Our mechanical dungeon master did this thing where he created 3 seasons of Mass Effect, right? And so the death of my character, Christoph Kor, occurred at the very end of this arc, okay, and of actually not just a season arc, but what I'm pretty sure is a series arc, right? I think that's the end of the Mass Effect game, and so this was at the end of a series arc, and it happened within 5 minutes of the end of the game, and my character was killed by another player character. Oh my gosh, right? So it's just a ton to unpack. So I was shocked when it happened. I was absolutely shocked when it happened. I did not expect it, right? I didn't expect for my character to die, and I certainly didn't expect for my character's death. And what's really sad is we have a shenanigans player. I named him a long time ago, and boy was that name apt, right? He's our shenanigan players. So for me, Christoph Kor was a collection of 12 sessions of play, and was me existing in that character and really, unfolding this new sentience within myself, right? I'm the captain. Christoph Kor is the captain of the USS Midway, right? And so I have memories of him just, sitting in a chair, on the bridge watching the stars pass, right, and talking with his first officer, and touring the ship and talking with engineering, and none of these happened in the game. But when I take on a player character, I live in that character at the table and beyond the table, right? And so this other player character just laughed, and basically my character was taken over. A non-player character that had the ability to control player characters took control of my player character, and my player character was exposed as having been taken control of by Reapers, but specifically the Elusive Man. And when it was turned out that when it was exposed by the Dungeon Master that in Index Card RPG that that specifically my character did not have control of himself. He said to the other player, the Dungeon Master said, what do you guys do in response to this? And the Shenanigans player is like, I shoot him in the head, and then he laughed, right? And so 24 hours of actual play, and probably another 24 hours of actual memories and emotions and sensation through that character. Like 50 hours of my life is a 5-second joke for this other player. So, and so what I want to warn you about in this video is, if you are a Manifold Sentient, you have got to be incredibly careful, because I really had to manage myself in this moment. I was incredibly vexed, sorrowed, and just in a lot of pain at the table, but I had no ability to say it to the Dungeon Master, and certainly no ability to say it to that player, right? Because the reality is my emotions were so high that, one, I was still really processing what had happened, and then also, for me, it's just such a huge collection of things, right? So this character is meaningful to me, but this other player is saying 50 hours of your life is worth a 5-second joke to me. I will laugh at your pain, right? And now I'm like, oh my gosh, is this person my friend? Why is this person here at my table, right? Like, I don't know, right? Like, I genuinely don't know. And I will tell you right now, I've kicked this player out of two games already, right? And I brought him back because he came back from New Jersey and he requested to be in the game. And the first thing I told him is, the player characters are not your enemies. Your enemies are going to be found in the non-player characters. I've told him again and again and again. And he absolutely refuses to find enemies from the Dungeon Master's non-player character. He insists in every game of making the player characters his enemies, right? And last night, this player just told me, 50 hours of your life is worth a 5-second laugh for me. And now I have to process it. I have to be like, I have so much frustration, so much vexation, so much sorrow caused by this Shenanigans player. And I'm like, what is the purpose of having him here? Why is he here, right? And it's really challenging. It's really challenging. So I need to wrap this up and give you a lesson. If you are a Manifold Sentient like me, you must manage yourself at the table. I did that last night. I was incredibly vexed, incredibly sorrowful at the end of what happened, right? Basically, 24 hours of play at the end meant nothing. This character, every time I think of this campaign, it's just tears and flames for me, right? For this other player, he remembers the 5-second laugh he got from killing my character. That is repugnant, and it makes me question my entire relationship with him, right? And so I have to process this, and but I cannot. So I'm warning you, right? Player character deaths don't mean anything to people who live in individuated sentience, and they cannot understand what we go through, right? So you must manage yourself at the table, and I was able to, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. I was so vexed. It was just so much sorrow and vexation in me, right? But I didn't frown. I didn't let it show at the table. And we have to manage ourselves at the table. We have to unpack things later, right? So if you have gone down the road of Dungeons and Dragons and received the gift of Gary Gygax, which is Manifold Sentience, right? You are in a different world than other people, and you must manage yourself far different than most people do. So just be careful of this. It's a warning. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I would love to hear your thoughts on how we manage manifold sentience, right? And how we live in a world where player character death means nothing to people. People run funnels, right? And like, so how do you, as a person who cares about your player character, manage yourself in a world where 24 hours of your life can be worth 5 seconds of a laugh to somebody else? How do you continue to be friends with them if you do? How do you cut them off if that's the right choice? I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of this. Let me know in the comments below. Please continue liking and subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.